It's no secret that we get a lot of PC hardware through our doors for build guides and other content on the channel. But I've got a confession to make. Despite all of this, for the last year and a half, I've been without any proper personal gaming setup. But today, that changes, and it changes for good. I've said goodbye to the parents, moved into my own place, and finally have the space to build the setup I've been dreaming of. So in this video, I'm going to be building the entire setup, starting off with the PC here in the office, and then headed over there to put the whole thing together for some truly incredible before and after photos and a very, very excited James. Let's do this. The Corsair Xeneon 32-inch gaming monitor is a panel that packs a punch, bringing your games and media to life on a vibrant, ultra-slim 32-inch IPS 4K display. It's a panel with some power. What's more, the fast 144Hz refresh rate and nippy 1 millisecond response time ensure you can keep a competitive edge. Learn more about the Xeneon 32 UHD 144 at the first links in the description below, and buy now on the Corsair web store. So then, what does the man who builds more PCs than he can really keep track of want to put together for himself? That's where I'm going to start. As soon as I laid eyes on Alienware's Quantum.OLED panel, the ultra-wide, I decided that that was the monitor for me, and the build I put together had to be able to drive my favourite games at max settings, max resolution, and maximum frame rates. In terms of what those games are, they range from strategy titles like City Skylines to racing sim games like F1 2022 and Forza Horizon 5, right through to shooters like Call of Duty's Warzone 2 and Apex Legends. They're the games really that I've based this entire system around. I also didn't want a PC that was going to be too big. While my new home office is a huge upgrade from what I currently have, which is no home office, it's also not the world's biggest space. Here in the UK, they don't build houses like they do in America, meaning we've got to be a bit more tactical with how big things are. Now, this is a particularly difficult requirement when you take into account that I wanted to use this as my graphics card, an RTX 4090. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm borrowing this one from the channel, and you may see it return at some point if we ever need to use a Founders Edition card. But the reason specifically I've picked the Founders 4090 is the size. Now, while this thing, I mean, it's ginormous in its own right, it's also the smallest RTX 4090 we've got in the office, apart from MSI's Supreme X Liquid card, which is amazing, but a complete pain in the arse if I ever need to take it out the PC and bring it into the office for videos on the channel. The Founders Edition 4090 is also absolutely whisper quiet, another one of my requirements, and needed to fit inside of a case with more than enough room to keep it cool and also to provide a bit of an overclock, but without taking up too much space on my wide but not particularly deep desk. And that is where the Hyte Y60 comes in. Now, up until about 2 months ago, when I first saw the Y60, well, all over the internet basically, I was a bit stumped as to what case I was going to use. The O11D from Lee & Lee is cool, but the mini version only supports SFX power supplies, something which was going to prove a challenge and expensive in a build where I wanted to use a power-hungry 4090. Thankfully, the Y60 has come to save the day, and as a massive fan of vertical GPU mounts, the 3-slot one in here works perfectly. It's also got room for a 360mm rad at the top, and while push-pull isn't really possible, to be honest, I don't really care. This is going to work amazingly well. As if this wasn't good enough already, I also wanted something that wasn't too tall and had plenty of glass, making the Y60 a supreme choice for this build. In terms of the processing power, I mean, sorry AMD, but there's only really one route you can go at the moment, and that is Intel, which is what I've done. Ideally, I would have liked something like an i9 13900K or the new i7 13th gen, but this build has to keep the channel in mind. If I go stealing all of our brand new processors, that means we're a bit stuck for videos, so I'm going to settle for the i9 12900K. Now, I really want to emphasize here, I'm incredibly grateful to have a CPU this powerful in my build, and I know that very few people are lucky enough to be able to steal whatever hardware they want from where they work, in my case here on the channel, and that really isn't something I take for granted. Even now when we get new GPUs in, I'm still like, oh my god, someone sent us a graphics card, so I'm incredibly grateful to be able to build a PC like this, and I always dreamt that this day may one day come. Storage and memory wise, I've got a DDR5 kit of XPG's Lancer memory. It looks good, it performs well, and while the cache latencies aren't quite as low as I would like, that's an upgrade for later on. Storage wise, I've picked up ADATA Legend 960 for this build, and now I think about it, I'm actually not sure how fast this thing is. I'm hoping it's like true Gen 4 speeds, like 5, 6, 7, 8 gigabytes a second. at, in the smallest writing humanly possible, read speed of 7.5 gigs and writes of 6.8. Power-wise, MSI's A1000G is a great choice. Rated it really, really well over on our website review with our detailed testing over there. And 1000 watts really is what you're going to need for something like a 1490 build. I didn't fancy risking it with a lower wattage unit on this occasion. Cooling-wise, I'm also going to add in a couple of Corsair QL Edition fans. Not only do they look amazing in the case, we also have quite a few packs of these from a water-cooled build we did a couple of years ago. If you'd like to see me water-cool the personal rig, sounds a bit risky, let me know and make sure to get subscribed if you aren't already. Finally, the last thing is the cooler. I don't think I've missed the motherboard. We'll come back to that. This is the Corsair H150i Elite Capellix. It's white and it's 360mm. I want something that isn't going to be too loud. Back when I had PCs, when I started the channel, they always had small air coolers on and were too noisy for me. So no worries about that. And Corsair iQ, by the way, is just unrivaled. I've said it in so many videos. I've written it in so many articles. The best control software for your PC is Corsair iQ, closely followed by NZXT's Cam. So that is why I've gone for the cooler I have. Finally, to tie the whole thing together, I've gone for the MSI MPG Z690 Force Wi-Fi. There isn't much of a difference between Z690 and Z790. Obviously, I'd rather a Z790 board, but we need them for videos on the channel, and I've only got a 12th gen CPU anyway, so it's a difficult one to justify. I also love how this board looks. I'm not sure whether MSI made a Z790 version of this. If they haven't, they definitely should, because it's gorgeous and fits with the nice white and black two-tone aesthetic. Nice M.2 cooling all around, PCI Gen 4 and Gen 5 on this board with a decent I/O. We've got Wi-Fi 6E, which is good for me because I've got gigabit internet, and super fast USB-A and USB-C. Otherwise, not really much more to talk about on this motherboard. We're keeping it simple and hoping that this PC doesn't cause me too many problems because I just want to game. Let me game. Leave me alone. Let me play Cities Skylines for heaven's sake. And without any further ado, let's actually go ahead and put my new personal rig together. The editors are going to hate me for all this jumping around. The audio is going to be a nightmare. Editor Dan, what do you think of my part choices?
I think they're really good.
Good. I agree. How do you feel about the 4090?
I think in the case, it will match the black bit of the case.
I agree. That was a big reason I went for it. And also, there's like no white 4090s. Come on, guys. Make some 4090s in white.
Just spray paint it.
No, I am not. The founder's card is too beautiful.
Subscribe if you want us to paint it.
No, it's not happening. I've already said I'm going to water cool the bloody thing. I'm just saying, now would be a terrible time to bend the pins on this motherboard, so I'm definitely not going to do that. Memory-wise, I've always been a massive fan of XPG stuff, and this kit is no exception. Looks really nice. Obviously, it might look a bit better in white, but I think the RGB is going to save me. I'd have preferred a DDR4 motherboard, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. And of course, this RAM is a bit better future-proofed for later down the line. RAM is in, followed closely afterwards by the M.2 drive. Part of me feels like I shouldn't put it in the top slot because this is Gen 5 and maybe we'll save it for later. But in reality, I don't think I'm really going to need any more. Plus, by the time Gen 5 arrives, I'll probably have a whole new PC by then. Heck, I might even have a whole new setup, who knows? Personally, I always pick M.2 drives without heatsinks, especially when you're using a motherboard like this, which is so well equipped in the heatsink department, because it just keeps the whole motherboard tie-in looking really nice, rather than trying to get some sort of heatsink design that doesn't really match up with your motherboard. Plus, drives without the heat spreaders are actually cheaper, so that is a win-win for everybody. I'm always a big advocate for doing as much of the cooler prep as you possibly can now before the whole thing moves into the case, as that is just going to be way, way easier. Corsair always, for me, have one of the easiest installation methods, and unlike other brands, they actually standardize their mounting across all their coolers, meaning if you ever lose any parts, either sourcing some from Corsair or on eBay and stuff is way easier. So many brands have coolers and each one's like a different installation method, never makes any sense. So kudos to Corsair, and as I said earlier, iQ, big fan. Gonna make my whole system sync up nice and easily. I really don't want to sound like a Hyte salesman, but the Y60 and the new Y40, which we've just released a video about, is, so good, man. Like, these guys know how to make a case, and I really hope they continue with their out-of-the-box ideas. And with so much mesh as well, you know that airflow is always gonna be, well, not a problem really, and that's, for me, a real big thing. Vertical GPU mount is a bonus, but we need to take that out before actually adding into place the motherboard, as if I don't, it's just going to be in the way. So motherboard goes in afterwards, and this stinky fan at the back is also going to come out and be changed for a nicer RGB unit. Oh no, it's snapped off. We've got a cooler problem. The cable's snapped off. Corsair, it's game over. I officially have to retire the H150 Elite Capellix to the GeekaWhat graveyard, aka the bin. Oh no.
What are you going to do?
Well, luckily we've got a spare one, which was meant to be here for the videos, but I'm going to have to steal it. There's no other option. I'm just going to have to steal a brand new cooler. Dan, look, needs must. I mean, my goodness. That is 2 coolers I've had to buy now in like a week. Oh, never mind, never mind, never mind. You've got to love these radiator mounts that you can just take out, add the radiator onto and screw back in. So 4 screws and the whole thing's going to be nice and secure. With all that's really left to do, just add the water block back on around the CPU to keep things nice and cool. Graphics card is next. Now, I haven't used this case before. If you've not seen that build, we'll pop it in the cards now. So 2 lanes are already out, just got to take off. I don't know why I'm standing in the middle. My new microphone means I can transport round and you can still hear me. Yes. I can't lie to you all, I am slightly worried about the weight of this thing. However, I'm hoping it's going to be okay. Line it up. Yes. Clicker in. Boom. Now then, how's it looking? We've got to obviously fasten it in, but that looks really good. And of course, it's a 4K powerhouse. It doesn't get any better than the 4090. And although it costs a ludicrous amount of money that most people should never spend on a graphics card, if you want something that really is the best of the best, there's not really any other options than the 4090. So very, very pleased with this thing and how it looks in the build so far. Nearly there. So a couple of fans to go in the case, 3 to be precise, 2 over here at the back and 1 at the back. Well, 1 at the rear, 1 on the side, shall we say, all in an intake configuration, pulling air into the case, which will be exhausted through the top, and then the power supply to go in, MSI's 1000 watts with all the cables and maybe even a few cable extensions in there for good measure too. All that's left to do is boot this thing up, install my favorite games, and start making this setup a reality. Can you tell I'm excited? A few days have passed then since I built my flashy new PC, and it's finally time to get it and everything else set up on the gaming setup in the home office and hopefully looking sick, but you'll have to stay tuned to see whether I achieve that goal. Over the weekend, while we moved all of our personal possessions in, I've done a few bits of prep work. These Govee Hexa Pro panels on the wall look awesome. The PC's going to sit just here to the side of them. They provide a nice bit of ambient lighting without being quite as big or standoffish as nanoleaf panels. I've got a Govee LED strip all the way around the desk as well, which looks awesome, and these Govee uplighters, which I can control and make any different colour that I want. So you can have kind of an all blue setup, or you can go for more of a one that I like, which is a blue, we'll get there, where's the red? And a red, which gives this nice purple hue. Of course, all these can be controlled via an app as well, and I'll leave links to these alongside everything else today in the description below. Now, the first key piece of this setup is the monitor. This is the Alienware AW3423DW. With a high refresh rate and a high resolution display, we're talking 21:9. It's also got a quantum dot OLED panel, giving the best colours, the deepest blacks, and the highest brightnesses. It also boasts support for Nvidia G-Sync Ultimate, perfect for my RTX 4090 to reduce screen tearing, and through a simple cable adapter from a HDMI to a USB-C, I can plug my MacBook directly in. Additionally, I also needed peripherals that I could use with both my laptop and my gaming PC, which is where the next 2 items of the setup come into play. The Corsair K100 Air is the first piece in that puzzle. It's got low-profile mechanical switches, which give it a chiclet but still gaming mechanical feel. It's fully wireless via either their USB slipstream tech or 3 separate Bluetooth profiles. You've got programmable G macro keys, RGB lighting throughout, and it's powered by an internal battery that recharges easily via USB-C. I'm a massive fan of the Corsair iQ Suite, and their K100 Air were very, very expensive, reviewed well on our website. We're very impressed with it, and with the media control keys that'll easily allow me to toggle music and stuff on and off during games, it's an absolute winner. Plus, it pairs up really nicely with the ASUS ROG Gladius 3, a nice mouse with just a couple of forward and back buttons, and wireless connectivity via either Bluetooth or 2.4 GHz, and you just switch between them nice and easily. Connection to both of my devices then is going to be really, really seamless. You've also got different profiles which you can switch between using the button down here, and a pairing button for that Bluetooth. USB-C is standard on this one too, making it a great addition to the setup. In terms of audio, I'm going to be pairing these up with a pair of Bose NC700 wireless headphones. They can be used in wired mode with like a gaming virtualizer, but purely the sound is just the best quality. I'm still on the lookout for a decent wireless gaming headset. Something like the ASUS ROG Delta Wireless or Corsair's HS80 is also a good shout, and that will be installed down here on this nice little headphone stand that I bought off Amazon. It was pretty affordable. I'll link it down below, and you can have your headphones this way, or you can turn it all the way around with a little room for your cable too. So that's just a nice quality of life feature that makes the setup hopefully that little bit tidier. I obviously need a nice extended mouse pad for all of this to live on too, which is where this comes in. Now, I promise I'm not shilling for Intel here. I just love the design. I actually got this when I worked on their PC build off, which was like a live competition PC building show. And I think it looks awesome with the little Intel mascot. I have no idea who these people are. So we can add this into place. Nice. Keyboard on. Here we go. Make sure it's nice and straight and add the mouse on for good measure. Adjustable feet as well on these. You've got two levels. So you've got the mini feet for a slight raise or the big size feet for a full raise. Unfortunately, I broke off the mini foot on this one. We noted that in our review. Bit of a build quality issue there, but the big raise is going to be nice and sit on the desk. Lovely. You can change all the brightness of all the LEDs. It's quite bright day today and our big lights are on, so you can't see it super well, but I assure you it looks rather nice. Or at least I think it looks rather nice. Also, one thing I forgot, and ignore the cable mess, we'll deal with that later, is the chair. Now, I'm pretty picky about what I sit on, and no matter how many gaming chair brands approach me and say, James, will you sit on our chair? No is the answer. This is probably, behind the PC, the most expensive item on the setup. It's a Herman Aeron. It is the base one, so you can get ones with adjustable lumbar and different adjustment to the armrest. So this is the more affordable of, it's not affordable at all, but it's amazing for your posture, for your comfort. As I say, this isn't particularly affordable, but for a few more quid, this is a good alternative if you've got the money. Words cannot quite describe just how heavy this PC is as I try and maneuver through the door. Oh my goodness. There we are. Beautiful stuff. Nice. Wow. That looks so good. I'm so happy with that. Oh, yes. My intention with these extension leads is not actually to completely hide them. I still want them to be practical. I still want to be able to plug stuff into them. So I'm thinking a position like this might make a lot of sense. And it will allow me to run any of the cables to the PC up through this back corner, and anything else I can just plug in as I see fit, willy-nilly. This is not intended to be invisible cables. It's meant to be practical, but also tidy. I'm going to command strip these to the top of the desk, and then I'm going to nail them in afterwards. So the command strip can take the weight, deal with all the heavy lifting, and I'll do the easy bit after. There we go. No, it's just a bit fiddly. I'm going to say a bit, I mean, very. Boom, it's in. Oh no. I worry for the safety of my fingers. You've just got to really persevere, keep hammering. There we go. Oh. Done. The first thing that I'm going to do on this side is actually just get this extension lead up again. So the method I used last time with the command strips at an angle, these are the slightly bigger size command strips you can buy. Of course, if you have nails, you can actually hang these, and it's probably a slightly more secure fixing. But I'm going to try sticking them first, because I don't want to have to make holes in my drawers. I've got nails to do so, but it just feels like a little bit overzealous if it's not really required. This might seem like an overly permanent solution, but I'm thinking if I add this little plastic doodah onto the top of the desk, pop a cable tie through both the holes, then I can add in my monitor and my Mac cable. Leave a little bit of tension just so that I can actually get the power cable is the one I want to remove. So let's just make sure we can still remove it. That'll do us. And then I can give this a chop. And then that way, once my Mac goes on, let me go and grab that. I can pop it out and then place it onto the desk, plugging in both the power and the display connections, making sure this is not only charged, but also connects up to the Alienware monitor and gives me a display output. Of course, because I'm using Bluetooth for both the keyboard and the mouse and my headphones, Bluetooth, as much as it's a bit of a pain in the arse, when it's not gaming applications, it's totally fine. So they will all connect up nice and easily, and it means those are the only two cables I need, which is a good job, because someone at Apple thought that with this Mac, it would be a good idea to give you 2 ports, and 2 ports only. But that's all I need. That's going to serve me perfectly and work great with this Alienware AW3423 DW. I forgot to mention as well earlier, got this custom blue GeekaWhat Xbox controller, which matches, well, the mouse pad and the whole setup pretty perfectly. And then we can turn the PC on for the first time. Oh yes, look at that. TikTok's gonna absolutely love this. Oh yes. So RGB everywhere. We've got fish tank case, the Hyte Y60. I'm very, very happy with it. It's a bit noisy, the case, but I think we can fix that with some, it's gone quiet now. We can fix that with some tuning later. And look, already, power of the SSD. There, it's on. You need to switch these over to wireless mode. There we go, there's the mouse. Turn it off and on again. That might work. I think I need to press this button. No? The mouse is working, but the keyboard is not. Let me unplug the dongle. Dongle. Yes, unplug, replug. Ah, here we go. Oh, we are in, boys and girls. Look at this. Let's load up. What are we loading up?
City Skylines.
City Sky, absolutely. I cannot explain to you how triggered half of the comments section is going to be that we're playing City Skylines on a however many $1,000 gaming PC, but it's fine. Like, don't worry about it. Look at the graphics. Oh, incredible stuff. Beautiful. We will also load up a bit of F1 2022 as well to make sure that both games are adequately performing as we would hope to see.
I wonder what FPS you're getting.
Oh, mate, I bet my FPS is off the charts right now. Absolutely off the charts. Anyway, that's probably not why you came to watch this video, so let's load up a racing game instead and actually do something a bit productive. I'm going to run the benchmark mode in Formula 1 just so we can get a proper good idea of performance. You can see it's running on high. We've also got ray tracing is enabled as well because, I mean, why not? It's a 4090, right? Video mode, we are 3440 by 1440. That's the resolution. I couldn't remember the resolution of this monitor earlier. And then let's jump into the benchmark mode. Let's just have one lap just so we can see exactly what's going to happen. Show FPS on, hit run. I'm expecting with ray tracing, hopefully 100-ish, up to 100. Obviously turn ray tracing off and you're going to get another like 50, 60 frames in something like Formula 1 anyway. But let's have a look. So visually so far looking pretty good. I'm not sure where the frame rate counter is in this game. Ah, up the top, here we go. Oh, no, that's not bad. Ray tracing, 128 frames a second to begin with. That's pretty good. 130, 136, yeah, this is nice. For me, the ultra-wide form factor just makes the most sense. Maybe one day I'll add a second monitor in, but I think 2 in this space is just overkill. It's too big, it's gonna crowd it. And this panel, I mean, Alienware did an amazing, amazing job. It's not even that loud either. It's not that loud at all, so the system's running really quiet now under load. Founders Edition is a quiet graphics card. And there we have it. So we've got our 12900K here, 4090, 32 gigs of memory, and the frame rate on average was 147 with a minimum of 122 and a max of 163. That is absolutely perfect. Exactly the kind of results I was hoping to achieve. 4090 performing amazingly in this situation, as you'd expect from a graphics card that obviously is kind of the top of the range. And with that, I think we're pretty much there with my new personal setup. I think there's only one way to really end this video on a high, and that's to see how good this thing all looks when it's powered up, lights on, PC, the whole business. Make sure to get subscribed to see more stuff like this though, and as always, we'll see you in the next one.